I created this, and even this as a complete beginner. So if you've ever thought about trying tufting yourself, here's what it's like to start with zero experience. I got this starter kit from Claw Lab. It came with some yarn, tufting gun, the backing and fabric cloth, and the tufting frame, which is pretty cool. I've been eyeing this particular machine for a while when I first wanted to try tufting. After researching, I found it's way more user-friendly than traditional tufting guns, and far less intimidating. But first things first, I need to set up the frame and stretch the cloth tightly over it. The whole process was really beginner-friendly and easy to set up. I wanted to do a small tester project and try out the machine before I started on my main project, so I could get a sense of how the tufting gun works. I went with something simple, a lightning bolt. It seemed like a good place to start because it's a bunch of straight lines. I also decided on doing a lightning bolt because it's a little tribute to my first career as an electrician, a reminder of where I started. But before I got started, I did one test line with the machine and right away I was shocked at how smooth it is. The whole process was super beginner friendly from the start. But maybe I should have tried a few different angles and curves before getting started on the project. My outline for the lightning bolt turned out kinda wonky. It just takes a bit of control and attention to create angled lines than a straight line. Two things I learned almost immediately that would probably help you when you're first starting out. Number one, keep constant pressure on the gun and the fabric to get smooth, clean lines. Number two, remember to keep slack in your yarn. Otherwise, it'll just fall out of the tufting gun and you'll have to keep rethreading the machine. But eventually I learned the right way to unravel your yarn, which I'll show you later. I'm glad I started with a test project, but despite my early oversights, the whole tufting process was surprisingly fast and way easier to pick up than my last project, wood carving. Now that I've finished filling in the design, there was this empty space that I wouldn't be able to utilize if I cut out the lightning bolt, because the fabric needed to reach all sides. And my wife saw how I did the first one and really liked it and wanted something for herself. So she asked if I could create a dumpling design for her. And I wasn't surprised since it's one of her favorite foods. That meant a trip to the craft store for more yarn and different colors. At first, I was completely lost. The starter kit came with some yarn, so I didn't have to think about what I needed. I didn't know that yarn comes in different sizes, but I ended up grabbing yarn size number 4, which is a medium weight yarn. In the beginning, this dumpling was looking like a tomato, but I knew I just had to trust the process like you would with any other creative projects. The curved lines were definitely trickier than the straight lines I did before. But this tufting gun has adjustable speeds, and slowing the speed helps you retain more control when tufting tighter areas and corners. And increasing the speed makes it easier to fill in large areas faster. Filling in the white part of the dumpling with straight lines up and down was such a relaxing process. My wife was even curious about this machine and jumped in to try when I told her how easy it was. Once it was done, I got some adhesive glue to lock everything in place. While the glue was drying, I realized I still had more space left over and couldn't resist trying one more tiny piece, a fried egg. I already had the perfect place to put this little egg rug, and I'll show you later in the video. At this point, I was feeling like a tufting pro. The egg took me 5 minutes from start to finish, and it still blows my mind how quickly and easy the tufting process can be. Now I can finally cut out these pieces and add the finishing touches before taking on the main final project. When cutting them out, I left about an inch of fabric around the border. The excess tufting cloth is then folded over, sticking to the existing tacky glue. Then I added an adhesive spray to the backing material, placing it onto the fabric. I trimmed it to shape with scissors. And hot glued the edges to make sure it was solid. To clean up the lines, I used a shaver kit I bought from Amazon, which has this special guide to keep everything even and leveled. It was pretty fun and satisfying to shave each rug. You really see it come to life and look more polished after a clean shave. Now I haven't decided on where to put the dumpling or the lightning bolt yet, but when we moved into this apartment, there was a sizable dent on the fridge. To cover up the dent, I added some magnets to the egg and voila! Now we're ready to start the final project. On a recent trip to Portugal, we had the best time eating tin fish, so I wanted to hone in our experience with this rug design. I sketched the design on my iPad, used my trusty color combination book to pick out a palette for this piece, then headed to the craft store to pick out more yarn, using the book to make sure I got the right colors too. I was feeling a lot more confident this time than my last shopping experience. Back home, I projected the image onto the cloth to trace it out. I accidentally pulled the yarn from the center and realized it allowed for a smoother unwind. Turns out that's how you're supposed to do it. Goes to show how much I knew about yarn before trying this project. It started off really good, the outlines were clean, but when you have to tuft along the sides of another color, it gets a bit tricky. If you're too far, there's an empty gap. Too close and it will overlap, which is exactly what happened to me. So I had to carefully undo those mistakes and remove the yarn. Luckily, I caught this before I started gluing it. Another tip for tight curvy spots, I learned this short tapping technique that allows you to add only a few threads at a time. This technique helped with the lettering because of all the small curves and details. It's moments like these that remind me there's still so much to learn and I'm loving the journey. Now up to this point, I've been using the half-speed setting of this machine, and I found a section where I wanted to see the full potential of this tufting gun. I turned it to max speed, and let me tell you, it was fast. Perfect for filling in big areas. Throughout the process, I found myself constantly checking the front to see what it would look like, and it was so fun seeing it come to life. After I was done, I applied the glue, let it dry, and cut out the piece, leaving about an inch around the edges again. But I got nervous when it came to folding the edges. Even if I did the tufting part perfectly, if I didn't make a clean fold, the whole piece would not look squared and the borders will not be parallel. Now, moment of truth to see if it's all lined up. Looks like it turned out really well. Trimming this rug cleaned it up nicely and gave it a satisfying finish I was hoping for. And maybe you noticed this section already, but there's one spot on the border where the fabric shows through because I didn't make the lines close enough. So I did the unspeakable and added some dark blue paint. Nobody's gonna know, right? In the end, I couldn't be happier with the results. I ended up placing this rug right outside my studio room door entrance. So every time I walk in, I'm reminded that I'm entering a space for creativity and play. And despite it being fun and soft to walk on, it felt weird to be stepping all over something I just made. I'm so glad I gave tufting a try. And once again, it gave me appreciation for those who take the time to master this craft. This process has taught me that tufting is one of those crafts that's really easy to get started and enjoyable for beginners, but can take a lot of practice to master and refine. Would I try tufting again? Yes, definitely. Next time I would love to try a bigger piece. And if you want to give tufting a shot yourself, highly recommend checking out the Claw Lab kit. I'll link it in the descriptions below, and if you use my code, you'll get 19% off. I hope you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.